Hey, this is Wes Moore, former Lady Mocs coach from 1998 till 2013. I started out at Maryville College in Tennessee, coached that level, Division III, for 6 years. Had an opportunity to go to NC State for a couple of years as an assistant, missed being a head coach, went to Marion University in South Carolina, D2, was there 3 years. Ironically, the first 2 years I had opportunities to leave and go to Division I programs, but just wasn't convinced that that was the right place. And then after my 3rd year, we went to the Final Four in D2, and I had an opportunity to come to UT Chattanooga, and it was a no-brainer. I knew the potential here was, unlimited. I knew of Sharon Fanning and the success she had had here, and it was pretty obvious that you could do some really special things here.
Wes Moore was probably as totally the opposite of Craig Parrott anybody could get. He was the new approach to coaching. The old approaches were still working in some cases because there were older coaches. But Wes was young. He'd coached a couple of smaller college teams, but he was young, enthusiastic, and he was eager to make the program at UTC a winner, a consistent winner.
Dr. Stacy was the chancellor, and that made all the difference. We owe a lot of our success to Dr. Stacy. When I came and interviewed for the position, they asked me, where do you want to play? Do you want to keep playing in McLellan, or do you want to play in the arena? And of course, definitely wanted to play in the arena. A big part of it is recruiting, but just also it's such a great facility for your players to be able to play in a place like this. So when I got here, I'll never forget, we had a meeting over at the chancellor's office with some people that didn't want us to play in here. And I get it, this place has to make money, and the more dates you block off, then fewer dates you have open for things like Disney on Ice or Barnum and Bailey Circus back then, things like that. So I got it, but I felt like in the interview we had made it pretty clear we'd be here. So anyway, we met. Never forget the committee. I just said, well, it's going to be really hard to win recruiting in this high school gym, as I called it, which probably didn't go over well. And someone on the committee made the comment, well, we won a national championship in this high school gym. And I said, yes, you did. It was 20 years ago, and it was Division II. And so anyway, it didn't go great. I went out to Valley Brook for a golf tournament. And while I'm out there, Dr. Stacy comes out there and finds me. And he said, Wes, you'll play all your games in the arena. He said, not this year, because we already have things booked, but after this year, you'll play your games in the arena. And I said, all of them? And he took his glasses off and said, all of them.
The year before, I guess when I was a senior in high school, the women's basketball team played, I think they got to play 1 or 2 games there, but most of their games were in McLellan. And when I was coming, we were going to get to play all our games in the arena.
Here, you take a high school kid in this place and they look up. I mean, heck, I look up, and think, man.
And the arena is like no other facility that I'd been in. It was just a very neat place. Like when you go in and everybody's just like, you're on the stage. It's like you're playing on a stage.
The only losing season I've ever experienced in now 34 years was that first year. And it was a rough year, but made it that much sweeter the next year and the years after that. We owe so much of our success to Dr. Stacy for standing up and making that move.
everybody just thought, I guess, that we were the old Chattanooga, and we were like, no, we're not. We're here, and we're here to stay. But you know, we won 17 games, but yet there's that and one where we lost to Furman, and I guess that's kind of, I guess as basketball players and as coaches, we're always, sometimes unfortunately we focus on the losses a little bit more than we do the wins, but we had a lot of wins, but some of those losses were, like that one was a pretty tough one. It's always going to affect the coaches harder than it is the players, because we were there having fun, enjoying the game, but it was very difficult on us because we had been, our goal was to get to the NCAA tournament, and you know, growing up, I didn't realize that not everybody got to play in the NCAA tournament. So I learned a lot just by knowing that you've got to win this tournament. Here you are, you've won 17 games, but then you have to win this tournament to get to go on, which makes tournament time super fun. But in the moment, we were all very, very upset with that, because we kind of felt like that we came up short, even though really like none of the things we did that season had come up short at all. But looking back, you know, because we lost that game, we got to go to the NIT, and that's where we beat Alabama, which was a huge win for our program. And had we gotten to the NCAA tournament, we may not have won that first game, because it took our program a while to win that first game.
I think that year we got beat in the conference tournament, and maybe is that the year we hosted the NIT? And you know what, in the end, that was probably a blessing, because it really got the community excited about our program. We beat Alabama in the first round of the women's NIT here. I'll never forget, we also got the second round here against Georgia Tech, and two things stand out. First of all, you know, the Alabama game, we had a week to sell tickets. Now it's a quick turnaround. You got like 2 days. I'll never forget Oval James coming to my office and saying, I hope, because you know, we had to put up money to host, I hope this works. And then him coming back down to my office that night early and saying, there is a line, you know, all the way down the sidewalk waiting to get tickets. You know, we're gonna be all right. And so that was pretty special. And then the Georgia Tech coach, she telling me before the game, if we'd have played this game in Atlanta, we'd have been lucky to have 1,000 people. And I think we had probably 3,500 or whatever that night. But I think that really jump-started it, because if we'd have gone to NCAA tournament that year and played a game and got beat, you know, nobody even notices it. But because we had 2 games against Power Fives here at home, I think it really got everybody excited about our program.
Well, I think winning at home is where you get more fans. That's how you build a bigger fan base, is the people that are there get to see a fun game, get to see women's basketball, get to see women having fun. When we were in it and winning all the games at home, I didn't think anything of it. I was like, we're just winning and we're having fun, we're winning, you know, our hard work is paying off. All that's great. But then looking back, and then especially being a coach now, I realize that's not normal. So winning all your games at home, that doesn't always happen. So the first time that I won the conference tournament, I was a sophomore, and we were playing Greensboro. And because I don't know who Chattanooga's rivals were before I got there, but because Greensboro beat us in the finals before, that automatically became one of our rivals. And then Furman also, because they were that one with the 17-1. So when we were playing Greensboro, yes, it was, you know, we want to get them back. It was also like, we want to play in the NCAA tournament this year and not the WNIT. So it was a huge step for our program, because the first time you get over the hump in whatever it is the hardest. And so we finally got, I say finally, but it had only been the second year I was there, but we got over that hump for the program, and winning that conference championship, I feel like that kind of just set a standard.
That first year we played Clemson, and up at Xavier in Cincinnati.
I didn't know much about Clemson women's basketball. I knew Clemson. We knew who Clemson was because their football program, and they're a big school. So we were excited to get to play somebody that you're watching play football every Saturday on the weekend. So getting to be on the floor with women that are just bigger and stronger than you. And that wasn't the first time. I mean, we played some, we played Alabama the year before, and throughout my whole 4 years, like Coach Moore did a great job of scheduling people that were bigger, stronger, faster than us. And we, for the most part, held our own with them.
And we actually had the ball, tie game with about 20 seconds left, and we just ran the clock down. And Demita Bullock, 15-foot jumper to win the game, rolls off the rim. We had a player reach at the rebound, and a whistle blew with about point-something seconds left. The other two officials looked at that official when they blew their whistle, because we're on our end. We just missed the shot here. They called a foul with 0.3 seconds. Walk to the other end, Clemson hits a free throw, and we lose. That's how you lose. Heartbreaking.
And that was devastating not to win that, because you want to get there, you want to get there, you want to get there, and then you want to win. And again, like I said before, we had kind of started changing the culture that we do win, and then not winning that last one was a reminder that not very many people get to win their last game.
And so we had gotten beat that way, and then we had others. I mean, it's like I said, it's tough, but without a doubt, that was a big step, something you'll never forget.
I guess not very many people get to be a part of changing a program to a winning program, so that was really fun. I mean, Coach Moore is a great coach. He had great coaches around him.
The original staff, well, maybe not even the original staff. We, of course, Laura Cottrell was with us, and Jill Jameson came with me from Francis Marion. But some of them were the original staff. And I'm gonna forget some. Leslie Cooper, I believe. Again, I'm getting old, forget some names here. But then we ended up hiring Kellie Harper, legend from Tennessee. And that was an interesting situation. She's an assistant coach at Auburn. So seriously, we're gonna try to talk her into coming to Chattanooga. But she was from Sparta, what the heck, let's go for it.
I was working at Auburn in an assistant position, and Wes Moore, who was the head coach at Chattanooga at the time, called me because he had an opening on staff. And anyone that's ever talked to Wes knows he is an excellent recruiter.
So brought her up, interview. A day or two later calls me, Coach, I'd really love to do it. I just can't afford the pay difference from Auburn to make the move. Well, I knew her husband had been on the practice team at Auburn. He was working at a golf course, okay? I said, well, what if I hire your husband as my third assistant?
I had wanted to get into college coaching. My background through college, I was like a manager and practice player with the women's team at Auburn, and that's what I wanted to do. It wasn't easy to have two people working at a college. At that point, it hadn't worked out for Kellie and I. The opportunity came up, and we did our research on Wes too, as he does. I mean, we knew he had been successful everywhere he'd been, always won.
So I hired both of them. Obviously, great coaches for us.
And he got me really excited about coming back home to my home state, coming back to Tennessee and having an opportunity to be an assistant on the road recruiting. It was a great opportunity. And to work for someone like Wes, I just considered that a huge step in my journey as a young coach.
Anyway, it was an unbelievable opportunity for me to get to do what I wanted to do. And then just being at Chattanooga, getting to do it with Kellie and everything else was, kind of icing on the cake. So just a great opportunity.
Every year we tried to take a really nice road trip, and my favorite of those was our trip to Hawaii. And I think what was really cool was we were able to enjoy our time, yet be very serious and very competitive when it was time to play games. And I appreciate what his goal was on those trips. You know, it was more than just basketball.
That was really the only time we would fly. We bust everywhere else. You know, people don't realize, you know, Charleston's a long way. Greensboro even's a good little haul. But we did, once a year, we'd go on a trip like that.
That was the cool thing. We got to experience some fun places. We got to go to Hawaii. I think as a player, San Diego.
So getting to go to San Diego was a special experience because we got to travel all together. Those were fun times on planes or buses, however we traveled, we had a good time doing it. And then Coach Moore did a really good job of, and again, I didn't even realize this is what colleges do. They go travel and they go play, and then they go see the things around. Like we got to go to the San Diego Zoo. So we got to do basketball, but also enjoy wherever we were at.
One year we went to San Diego, played in the tournament. You wouldn't do this nowadays, but I said, okay, I'm gonna take y'all across the border to Tijuana. Okay, we're gonna do it early in the day. We're playing the championship game on Sunday afternoon or evening, and I take them down to Tijuana, got there at 10 o'clock in the morning. I said, you got 2 hours to shop all you want in these little places. Shop for 2 hours, left at 12 noon, went back to San Diego, ate pregame, won the championship game.
To be able to do that was just really cool, and him figuring out a way and knowing that was important to do that, you know, it was always something to look forward to.
And then one of my favorite one was when we went to Hawaii. So we got to do the luau. We got to play in the water, in the waves. That was my all-time favorite part. Those waves were huge. So Hawaii was my favorite.
We went to Hawaii. We tried to, you know, we'd go snorkeling one day. We'd go to a luau. You know, we tried to do all those little frilly things. And but it was fun too. I mean, because a lot of those kids would never have that opportunity, possibly, to do that.
Yeah, I had never flown before. So we went to, where was it, San Francisco, I think, my first year. So that's my first time flying. You know, I can remember we got on that boat, I think, to go to Alcatraz, and we were all cheering. We went to KFC, and they ran out of chicken. Like, here it is, I think it was Thanksgiving Day, and here we are, my new family. I'm not at home with my family. It's a big adjustment. They ran out of chicken at KFC. We're on a boat. We're all fighting over chicken. So, you know, it is just, I would not have got to experience places like San Francisco, Hawaii, I think it was Las Vegas, if it weren't for what Chattanooga did for me. So as a person from a small town that might not have gotten to do those things, it was pretty special for me. So I enjoyed it.
And it's a great recruiting tool. And, you know, we got to play some really big schools. That was a great experience too, playing some Power Fives or whatever.
We got to do so many and see so many cool things just by playing basketball.
Even some of even going to our conference games, we would enjoy the time when we were there. I remember we always watched movies on the bus, and he always watched the movies. I remember one of the movies we watched was Bring It On, which is like a cheerleader movie. And we were putting in plays like the next week, and we put in some new ones, and he let us name them Spirit Fingers and Toros because that was the movie that we watched. Anytime it snowed, you could guarantee a snowball fight, and he would be in the middle of it or starting it.
Well, that's ironic. We spent all this money on these exotic trips. And then there was the night, we play at Furman, and big win. It's probably a Saturday night. Yeah, Saturday night win at Furman. And we're going to App State up in Boone. And it is snowing hard in Greenville, South Carolina. And people are saying, you're not going to Boone, North Carolina tonight. Well, we are. But I walk out of the arena, it's snowing there, and I got dress shoes on, and all of a sudden they're pelting me with snowballs from everywhere. And you know, I think I bit it with my shoes on, whatever. But anyway, we finally get on the bus and we make it up that mountain. I mean, we get in, I don't know, 1 or 2 in the morning, and I'm literally thinking to myself, I don't need to tell them to be quiet. They're gonna be exhausted. They're gonna just pass out. And I hadn't been in my room 5 minutes. Somebody knocks on the door. Hey, coach, can we go outside and play in the snow? We don't get snow a whole lot here in Chattanooga. So yeah, let's do it. And I went out there with them. And the ones that weren't getting enough playing time were putting little pellets of rock in their snowballs and hit me in the head with it. But anyway, that was fun. So next day, practice Sunday. We get back to our hotel Sunday afternoon, and across the road was a house that had the unbelievable hill behind it. Got to do it. Go over there and knock on the door. Would y'all mind if we slid down y'all's hill? They said, tell you what, we've got an inner tube and we got a sled out there, and they had a little ramp. Yeah, coach, y'all go ahead, have fun. I mean, for hours, all afternoon, climb up the hill, slide down, and we're going off this thing flying in the air in the snow, and I'm thinking, how am I gonna explain to the Chattanooga Times why so-and-so didn't play in the game Monday night? Because they bit it on the inner tube in the snow. But I'm worried. I'm thinking, oh gosh, I've blown it, because we did it for hours. I'm thinking they're gonna be so exhausted, we're gonna be in trouble. Best game we had all year. Those kids ran up. I mean, we ran, transition, we were pushing it, we were running, we're scoring. I mean, it's unbelievable. You know, and that teaches you as a coach too. We wanna keep them in their rooms, stay off your feet. A team that's happy and having fun is gonna play a whole lot better.
That was one of the fun memories, just being there. And then most of the time we were traveling during the Super Bowl, so we would have a little Super Bowl party with the team. So those were just fun experiences off the floor.
Later on, in maybe her senior year or something, they asked Jennifer Wilson, what was the funnest trip you went on? Oh, Boone, North Carolina, coming down that mountain.
One of the things I also remember on road trips, so we would go out to eat and, you know, sit down restaurants or whatever, but we would not go if we did not get our drinks for free.
You could not go to a restaurant without getting free drinks. He would call, will you give us free drinks? No, we're calling somebody else. I'm not kidding. He was the most frugal person, cheap. I should just say cheap, he was cheap.
Well, I was the person who should have been in charge of making the reservation or whatever, so I always had the awkward, whatever you want to say, of either making a decision to, I've got to go in and ask these people who have a line of 100 people out the door who don't want us to come to say, hey, I got this team out here and you're going to give us free drinks or we're not coming in, or Wes would do it. And so eventually I got where I would do it. I mean,
You learned a lot.
I learned a lot from Wes. Initially it was very like, what are we doing? This is terrible. And then eventually I would just do it. And then obviously he's very particular with his food. I am too. People like to, but it's eating with Wes is an experience. So
Looking back, I realize now like how much a drink, getting a free drink can knock off your budget, you know, so that was helpful. So he would always make sure we have free drinks and then tell us what our limit was. And Coach Moore liked to eat.
And it was always buffet. So either Cracker Barrel, that would be like a Thanksgiving, that would be like a treat. Or you go to a Ryan's buffet, Golden Corral. He loved buffets because he got his money's worth. We were all like, okay, we're full. And he's like, you gonna eat that? You gonna eat that? Everywhere we go, right? So yeah. So he was always happy if we got the food and the free drinks. That was it.
Well, I think, you know, each team each year had high expectations, and we had veteran players on that team that, you know, were accustomed to winning. They expected to win. And you go out and lose a game that maybe you shouldn't lose.
We had just lost at Tennessee. Yeah, it was at Tennessee. And then we went down to Miami. We lost our very first game in that classic to Butler.
We lost to Butler, which obviously a good program, but at the time I don't think they were quite as good as they are now.
And Butler was like in the 300s RPI. I mean, they were not good at all. And we were horrible that day. And we had some things going on, you know, just kind of internally. He was making some shifts. People didn't like it. You know, it's girly things. You know, you kind of having to make those adjustments, and we did not adjust well. And it was after that game, I think we spent maybe like, oh gosh, it was like an hour in that locker room. And we're just hashing it out. And there's just, you know, he's like, what is going on? Like, we were better than, and we were better than that. And we talked through a lot of different things. We challenged each other in a lot of ways.
I'll never forget, I told the staff, y'all got 1 hour. Grab something to eat and we're meeting. And we sat down and watched that game in the hotel that night and decided to just shake things up a little bit. Maybe we were complacent. Maybe we were getting used to winning being too easy. And that was the night we decided, all right, we're gonna move Nicole Madison into the starting lineup and we're gonna bring Miranda Warfield in off the bench. And I really thought, you know, we might do this for a few games, see how it goes.
We changed the lineup, and they took off.
Well, then we won, 27 straight or whatever, and like, okay, I guess we'll run with it.
And we didn't lose another game until the last game of the year. And it, for some reason, was just kind of like everybody just at the same time it clicked and said, you know what, if we don't trust him, we're not going to be successful and we're not going out like that. So we all came together and decided that we were going to do what we had to do in order to make it the most memorable season we could make it, and it sure was. It was the best year. We had a great time.
It was pretty special group, but yeah, we just got on a roll, got hot, and it was fun run, and again, carried us all the way into the NCAA tournament.
We got a number 10 seed in the NCAA tournament, and that at the time was our best seeding ever in the tournament. And so they went into the game against Rutgers, who was the number 7 seed for our bracket, hosting. I mean, that's back then you bid to host. Now it's different. So we had bid and we won, and so we're hosting, a first round. We have Vanderbilt in the building as well. So it was a big deal. It was a lot of fun. The atmosphere was very much of an NCAA tournament. There were fans from all over. There were local fans that were just excited that they got to see this happen.
Leading up to the game, we find out who we're playing, and we immediately go back to the dorm and we're online. What's Rutgers? What do they do? Who are they? What do they have? And so we start like doing a scouting report, and then we see an article the next day where they're like, Chattanooga? Who's Chattanooga? Not necessarily, but that was kind of the feel of the article was like, okay, we're about to show you who we are. So we already had a chip on our shoulder. We knew that they had a couple of injuries and they were low on numbers, but so were we. I think we went into that game with 9 players and they came in with like 8 or 9. So we were both beat up, right? We had people playing, and I think that's the coolest part about my senior year. We had people playing positions that they weren't normally used to playing. We had Katasha and Nicole playing the 4 spot. And luckily we played 4 out, 1 in, so it was kind of all the same, but they had to learn plays from guard and post positions, with the sets.
I always tell people, just same way when you're playing an SEC, an ACC team, or you're playing a Rutgers that was a powerhouse, you're not going to be better than them at 5 spots. And so you got to pick your matchups and try to take advantage of those.
You get in the game, and there were so many nerves. I had the worst cotton mouth pregame. Couldn't get rid of it. I think in that first half, it was, like you say, it was very up and down. They had kind of pulled away a little bit, but we knew if we could get Pondexter in foul trouble, we knew if we could do that, they would be in trouble because they wouldn't have that extra ball handler and scorer. I mean, she was a phenomenal scorer because their additional point guard was on the bench. She was hurt. And so we really, and Coach Moore did a brilliant job of getting the ball where it needed to be to attack her, to get her in that position. It was very close to the end of the first half. I don't know if I got a rebound or if I had gotten an outlet pass, and I kind of made a little fake and was trying to go around her. And I was pretty good at selling things because I was small, right? And so any like little bit of a touch, I would kind of, I would really sell it. Well, she comes up on me, fouls me right at the end of the third quarter for her third foul. And the whole place erupted. And I'm like getting into it. I'm waving my hands, getting all excited about it. And I didn't really normally do that. I would get excited, but not like get engaged with the crowd. And it was just so, it was an electric atmosphere. It was so amazing. It was like from then on, we were like, we can do this. We're gonna do this.
We were fortunate. We got Cappy Poindexter in foul trouble. She had 3 fouls first half. Great player. And we ran a clear-out play to start the second half. And I ran it for Nicole Madison, because that's who Poindexter was guarding. I said, okay, we're gonna clear it out, let you attack. I said, either she's gonna foul you and pick up her 4th foul, or she's gonna let you score so she doesn't pick up her 4th foul, or if we're real lucky, we're gonna get both. And that's what happened. Poindexter picked up her 4th foul 30 seconds into the second half, and that was a big deal.
Well, it was obviously we didn't have quarters back then, but it was late in the second half. I feel like the shot clock's running down, the ball kind of got knocked out or whatever, out right in front of our bench on the right deep wing. And she turned around and I got goosebumps. Like I said, I can remember it like it's yesterday. It was awesome. But when the shot went in, just the arena, And
then obviously, Katie Galloway Burrows hit a humongous 3 at the end of the shot clock one time from way out. Some things went our way, no doubt.
Yeah, I remember thinking this is not exactly how you draw it up, right? It's not the play that you would call, but obviously Katie had such a grit about her and a savvy about her, and one of the most competitive players that we coached. So sometimes you just need something to go your way. And, sometimes it's a great play and sometimes you gotta have a little luck. But regardless, it was her savvy, her toughness, her competitiveness that found a way to get that ball in the hole to give us that spark that we needed.
If you go back and watch that game, it was an ugly game. It was you think it was this beautiful win. No, it was ugly. We didn't shoot it great. There were a lot of weird turnovers and just a lot of fouling going on. It was just a mess, but hey, win's a win, right? So I guess we should just be thankful for it. But man, such a cool experience to be able to not only get that NCAA win, but to do it here at home. Probably never get to do that again, just the way that it's set up. But yeah, it was a unique experience for sure.
So I remember Rutgers had already purchased tickets for the riverboat dinner cruise for that night. And unfortunately, they had the NCAA, when you lose, they send you home. They don't let you hang around. So, it was special because they had been saying all week, Southern Conference, we never heard of the Southern Conference. So I know it was special because our kids, they were, they were tough enough mentally and physically to handle that.
So for that group to be able to get over the hump, it was awesome. But the bank shot from Katie was, like I said, gave me goosebumps and then choked me up. So I'd say 19 years later, it's still pretty cool thing to be a part of.
But it was a special night, and we weathered some storms and all those things, hit some big shots. And Tiffany Patton was a big presence inside for us at that time. And of course, I don't even remember who all the years blend. I do remember a pretty neat thing too, was walking off this court after the game, and all of our former players were sitting right there by the tunnel when we went out. And then we had them come in the locker room. And now here I go. It was just so neat that they felt a part of it. Even though they maybe had graduated a few years before, that was what was neat about this, was all these kids, even if they didn't play together, they had a special bond. And them coming in the locker room and saying, finally, finally got it done. Pretty awesome.
I think, going into the Vanderbilt game, we have a lot of momentum. Coming out of the Rutgers game, we have a lot of momentum. We feel really confident that we could get another win.
Then we went on to play Vanderbilt 2 days later, and Vanderbilt showed why they were the number 2 seed, although we played a great game. And if you talk to some of those players today, they'll tell you we were robbed. But Vanderbilt was a very good team.
But it is hard going up against an SEC team. There's a you could say this anytime you go up against a big dog, right? There's this like, people would say, oh, the officials weren't going to let them win that game. It didn't have anything to do with them. We could have shot it better. We could have not fouled as much. We could have gotten the ball, taken care of the ball better. There's always things you could have done. And that game, we didn't execute well. And I say the game before was sloppy. We still were able to execute the game plan the way that we wanted to, but they did such a good job of getting us out of that and making us uncomfortable. And they had depth, so they're running people in and out. Melanie Balcom did a really, really good job against us that year. But yeah, it was just so frustrating. I felt like we didn't shoot it as well that game either. Overall, we didn't have as much point production from as many people. So we had just a couple people trying to pull the load, and it's just hard to do against a team like Vanderbilt. So yeah, unfortunately it ended there.
And obviously at the end of the day, we weren't able to advance. We weren't able to get that win, but I mean, we proved we belonged. We really did. And that team was, that team fought, and that team gritted, and it was probably one of those things, if you played 4 times, we're going to find a way to win 2 of them.
I think I cried more after the Rutgers win than I did. I was upset, of course, but I think the emotions were greater because it was like we finally did it. And then it was like, but we're not done. And then when it was done, it was like, okay, we gave it all we had. You knew you left it all out there. So, yeah, it was, and we got to finish up on our home court. No, very rarely do people get to do that. So, yeah, it's a pretty sweet time. So I had finished up my 3rd year at Ringgold, and taking it back a few years before, he had asked me, come back and be an assistant, and he had some turnover, in that position. And I'm like, no. I had always thought, because I'd never seen it modeled here, and because this was my only experience, I'd never seen it modeled that I wanted to get married and have kids. And I always thought I would just kind of follow in what my dad was doing in his footsteps. And, and so he asked me, no, I still kind of, my mind hasn't changed. I don't want to do all that. And I want to, start a family. And he's very convincing. That's why he recruits so well. He's just very convincing. Like, come on, let's go. What's the worst that could happen? Kind of deal. And and I bought in, and 3 amazing years, 3 very hard years, but very amazing years. And I learned a lot of things from him. I became very disciplined, more disciplined than I was. I was able to learn the ins and outs. Back then our staff wasn't quite so large, so we had to do a lot of different things, which helped me moving forward when Coach Foster came, and then being able to take over. And hopefully I was able to kind of impart some of that on other people to help them grow as well. So yeah, just super thankful of that time with him. And yeah, we can say, oh, the trips, this and that, but really our sweetest times were when it was just the 4 of us in a room together. We really got to know each other well. We laughed a lot. It was intense. On the bus, we laughed a lot, but it was intense, at times. And I still think I have a permanent crick in my neck from doing this. Well, you're looking around the seats, watching game film, getting bus sick, because I'm like, oh my God, I'm so queasy watching film. But it's what you had to do, to be better, because we just didn't have the technology even then that we have now. So yeah, it's pretty cool. And then, the rest is history.
I thought the world of Katie, again, as I mentioned before, she just, competes really hard and comes from such a great basketball background, but obviously a great player for us. I think it's really neat when you have a player, a coach on your staff that was a player, because they can kind of tell your story. you know, and sometimes when your players maybe are frustrated or maybe they don't understand why you're doing something, it's great to have a former player, you know, hey, I know I went through it. I know the guy's crazy, but here, you know, this is what we're doing. So from that standpoint, and then obviously hiring her as an assistant coach was good from that standpoint for me.
I would say that I am a better coach now because I did what I did back then and took that job. So, I mean, at least I hope I am.
When I got the job here, I ran into Pat that summer recruiting, and she said, hey, Wes, let's play opening weekend every year. Make an agreement. I said, that's great. And, you know, they would come here. It was home and home. And, you know, we had 11,000 or so in here the first time we played them. You know, that right there tells you, hey, this can work. And we got where, you know, we were filling the lower bowl up pretty good.
We always played big games. I mean, we would play SEC and ACC opponents all the time. We'd beat Clemson, we'd beat Louisville. We would go to Alabama and Auburn, we'd beat them there, you know, and then we'd come back and we'd beat them here. And it was just, people knew that Chattanooga's a hard team to play, and even more so, more difficult to play at their home. We're ranked like in the top 50, I think even top 40 for home winning percentage. So a lot of that had to do with Wes coming in and taking over and making sure that this is where we played.
I think that's like, you know, one of the cool things about coming to Chattanooga. It's more of a mid-major program, but, you know, at the time Coach Moore had it, you know, as one of the top. And so we were able to draw those games. And, you know, aside from Baylor, I mean, I know we got killed that game, but there were a lot of games that it was competitive, and we even beat Tennessee. So that was, I mean, honestly, that was probably something that intrigued me as a recruit was, you know, we got to go to Kentucky, we got to go to Georgia, we got to play these big SEC schools, and even Baylor. So I think it was a really cool experience. You know, not a lot of people can say that they got to do that in their career.
When we beat Tennessee that first time, it was Wes Moore's last year. Holly Warlick's first year as head coach for Tennessee, and Pat Summitt was in the building. She'd been sitting lower in the stands, but had too many people coming by, so they had to move her up. Well, at halftime, she was so unhappy with the way the team was playing that she didn't come back out all the way to the floor. She stood in the corner and watched the game. So, you know, that was a big stress for Tennessee to lose to us. You know, it was unexpected. They were ranked in the top 10. I mean, they were a very good team.
Well, we had been real close 2 years before here at home. In fact, I thought, you know, Pat Summitt had a way with, you know, when it got tight down the stretch, yes, she was a great tactician and coach, but she also had those officials right here, you know, because she could, you know, that look, she could intimidate you with the best.
Tennessee game, just, I'll never forget it. First game without Pat that they had, so that was like a huge thing for us anyways going into it. I just remember like the whole game, like we were like in control, and it was probably close to like the 4-minute media timeout at the end. I was just like, I mean, we're about to win this game. Like we are right here at the end. We're about to win this game. Just such a cool experience. Not many people can say they beat the Lady Vols, especially on your home court. So that's one of the most special memories that I have. I remember the atmosphere, first of all. That's one really big thing I remember. Taylor Hall, I mean, she was awesome. You know, I think she's probably the reason that we won the game. We all obviously played well, but I just remember her just playing so good. Yeah, that's probably the biggest thing I have as far as what I remember.
We'd been very close, and so it was pretty special to get over the hump. And you know, just again, the crowd, yeah, sure, a lot of them may have been wearing orange, a lot of them were wearing blue and gold, so it made it even more special. You know, there was a kind of a split crowd a little bit, but you know, I'll never forget, it was opening game again, like always, a Friday night, and I had a recruiting event on Saturday up in Murfreesboro. And that was one of the best days of my life, to go out recruiting and have all these high school coaches, college coaches coming up. You know, what a great win, Coach. you know, that sticks out in my mind. That was a pretty fun day. But I don't know if I can remember too much about it, but you know, it was just obviously little sister beating big sister, whatever you want to call it. It was pretty awesome. Well, I had been at North Carolina State University with Kellie, the legend, as an assistant coach for a couple of years. So I knew they had the resources and were an attractive landing spot for great players. They had really invested in women's basketball early on before a lot of schools were. And so I'd seen firsthand, you know, what you had there. It's not an easy job. You got some other schools in your neighborhood that have big brands, and it's a tough job in that way. But I also knew it had a great tradition and history in women's basketball. And quite honestly too, it got my wife 2 hours from home. So while for a few years there, I was left out of all family gatherings, now I could get back in the graces. But it was still hard, you know. Last year here, we won SoCon championship. We were fortunate enough to beat the Tennessee Lady Vols finally, and that was a big deal. And to be quite honest, I think that probably helped me get the North Carolina State job, was when they see you beat somebody like that, then hopefully you can do it with a few more resources at that level. But it's still hard to leave, and it always is, because you're so attached to your players, and you feel a certain level of commitment to them, and so it's always hard when you do it. But you know, it was time, and so made the move. I love Chattanooga, and I love UTC. I love my players. That was a big part of it. It was just really hard to leave this place.